Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today I've got another history of video for you today. And I'm going to be continuing my history of zombies character series, which I started yesterday, even though the video was filmed on Christmas Day. With the Addison Rosalind Wells video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the other original main lead, played by Milo Manheim, Zed Necrodopolis. Now, I said original main lead because, as I'll get into when I do the Zombies 4 section of this video, Megan Milo, there's a line of dialogue in a song, in one of the songs in Zombies 4, where they're like passing down the torch of the leads to these younger characters. The younger characters introduced in Zombies 4. For those being Freya Sky as Nova and Malachi Barton as Victor. Now, I think because of the whole Kylie Contrail, Malia Baker, and Malachi Barton drama that's going on, I think I'm going to hold off on doing a video about Victor for a long while, honestly. It'll be a very, very long while. And I'm probably not going to do a Nova video until we at least get behind the scenes pictures, until we at least get our first look at Nova in Zombies 5, whatever that film would be called. So it probably won't be until 2027 until I do a Victor Nova video, but I'll be doing like tons of other characters until then. So let's get started with Zed's childhood. Not a lot of things are known about Zed as a child, but if you take a look at one of the episodes from the reanimated series where we get to see a child Zed, we can see that he's kind of like super energetic, kind of like a younger version of Milo Manheim's Zed. Which, honestly, I haven't watched that episode in a while. I really should go back and rewatch the reanimated series. But I'm kind of holding off on that because I want to finish the history of videos for characters. I want to get a Zombies 4 review out. I want to get a Descendants video out. A Descendants 2, Descendants 3, Descendants The Royal Wedding, and Descendants The Rise of Red videos out before I get into some other stuff that I've got planned, at least when it comes to talking to the history of characters and from franchises that I love. So, yeah. Anyways, where was I? Alright, Zed's childhood. So, unlike Addison, like Addison, not a lot is really known about the childhood of any of the characters. But in the reanimated series, we kind of get looks into their childhood, at least for Eliza and Zed. I don't know when during their childhood leading up to when they look and are going to be played by Kylie Contrail. Nope, not Kylie. To when they get to the age where they're old enough to be played by Kylie Russell and Milo Manheim. But something that was hinted at when Eliza was really young, she came up with this past Eliza, present day Eliza thing. It's really weird, and I don't feel like getting into that because I don't completely understand it. Anyways, I'm assuming that Zed had a pretty good childhood because he has a loving dad. His mom, I I don't want to say it's like dead or like something happened between him and her and Zed's dad, because, well, that would suck. So I'm just not gonna get into what I think about that. Anyways, where was I? Alright, so as Zed was growing up and was young, he eventually got a little sister by the name of Zoe. Now, again, we don't really know a lot about Zed and Zoe's relationship in the movies, but what we do know is that Zed is an incredible, supportive little brother. In fact, something that Zevon and Zed learn as Zed and Zoe grow up is that Zoe wants to have a puppy, wants to have like a pet, but because the humans are scared that the zombies will eat it, Zoe ends up getting a stuffed puppy, and Zed does this cute little big brother thing where he goes like, rah, ha, 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 and acts like a dog for Zoe. If I knew how to throw clips into videos and stuff, I would definitely do that to show you what I mean when I say it is so adorable, and I think it is an incredible big brother thing for Zed to do. Anyways, let's jump forward to Zombies, the first movie. Okay, so when we get introduced to Zed in the movie, he just gives us some Zombies lore. He says that thanks to a wristband, it gives the zombies a soothing dose of energy or something. It keeps their monstrous tendencies in check. It keeps them from eating brains. We also find out, and this introduction to Zed in the first movie, that Zed wants to join the Seabrook High football team. And we'll get to what the problem with that is later. After that, we get a montage of Zed being like, yeah, woo, go Seabrook, woo, 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 Seabrook! Ends up falling flat on his face with, I want to say blood sweat stains on his shirt. Yeah, I really don't know how zombies sweat. So, yeah, that's complicated. Anyways, after this, the next time we see Zed is when he's downstairs on the lower level, and we see Kingston Foster, and then we get introduced to Kingston Foster's character, Zed Necrodopolis. I'm not going to be bringing her up a lot because, well, she's not really in the films a whole lot, but maybe, and this will probably be one of my shorter history of videos, but maybe I'll do a video on Zoe. You know what? Yeah. I'm gonna do a video on Zoe. It's gonna be really short, but I think it'll be worth it. Anyways, where was I? All right. So when Zoe notices that her big brother is nearby, she says, "Come, Zed, come, Zed," and Zed comes over acting like a dog for his little sister. Which, like I mentioned earlier, is so adorable. Such an incredible big brother thing to do. Anyways. Good boy. Zed Necrodopolis comes into... We see their dad for the first time, and he says, yeah, I don't know, Zed. I don't really know about this football thing, Zed. Humans don't really like zombies. Zed confidently says, well, yeah, that's just because they haven't met me. And then we get the Zombie Town side of things for my year. Like I mentioned in my Addison video, the Zombie Town side of things for my year, that's actually something pretty similar, like what the Seabrook side does. The Seabrook side of the song introduced us to Bucky, Lacey, Stacy, and Tracy. The Zombie Town side of the things introduces us to Kylie Russell's character, Eliza, who will get her own dedicated video, and her either half-step or full brother, Bonzo. Um, yeah, as much as I like Bonzo, I feel like there isn't really enough to give him an entire dedicated video. So I'll just say this to get out of the way. Bonzo, I think, I think Bonzo, like, there's, I haven't really seen any theories out there about why Bonzo doesn't speak English, but my theory, my headcanon theory, is that when Bonzo was a little boy, he tried to learn English, but just couldn't get a hang of it, so he stuck to speaking in the zombie language, and other zombies around him, like his sister Eliza, and their best friend, Zed, kind of translate for him. So anyways, after this like my year, Bonzo gets a bit too close. Zed spots Addison as she's walking in, and Zed and Bonzo get all really optimistic about not having to go to school in the basement again, but they end up back in the basement. Anyway, so the teacher is a human, just to look like a zombie. Principal Lee comes out and says, "Ooh yeah, look. Having you here out of school isn't something that we have decided to do willingly. So we're kind of forced to do this, so hi, welcome to our school. You cannot leave the basement at all." Eliza asks if she can join the computer coding club through Zed. Bonzo asks to join the music program, and Zed asks about football tryouts. Principal Lee says, "So, do any of these involve leaving the basement?" And Zed's like, yeah, kinda. Then I guess Principal Lee's just like, then I guess you don't. I'm sorry, I don't mean it. Have a good day. I don't mean it. That's just an expression. Excuse me. Anyways, so Zed decides to try for football tryouts anyways. While walking in the halls, he hits his leg on something and does the stereotypical zombie walk that people think of when they think of how zombies walk. Which triggers, I want to say Stacy. I think that's who. She set off the Z alarm, the school goes into panic, and then our two leads meet in the zombie safe room. And this scene here, like, I think I might have mentioned, like, pretty early on in my in my Addison video, but when they're in the zombie safe room, they kind of just talk about what the goals for freshman year are. After doing a hello, and Zed's like, "Why, hello?" Like in a weird, flirty way. It's really weird, okay? Anyways, after the lights turn on, no, wait. After Zed and Addison talk about the plans for the first day of freshman year at Seabrook High, the lights turn on, and we get probably one of the funniest scenes in the first 3 Zombies movies, which is when Addison sucker punches Zed in the face. I do not know why. This scene cracks me up in each movie that it happens in, but it makes me laugh every time. Anyways, after punching Zed, Addison apologizes and says, "Zed, I'm so sorry. my parents have always taught me that zombies are hideous, dead-eyed freaks, but you're not hideous at all. So you think Zed's a dead-eyed freak? Yeah, I'm gonna be in this video. I'm gonna be bringing up problems that I have with. That might be the only thing I bring up in terms of my problems with Zed and Addison's initial interactions with each other. So, yeah. Anyways, after this, I can't believe I'm bringing them up again, story-wise, for this video. The ACs and Bucky show up, and they're just like, ew, get away from us. And Bucky's just like, get away from my cousin. Okay, you are, ew. Anyways, Zed goes to football tryouts, and the football coach, literally called coach, is just like, you know what, you all make the team. And Zed's like, yes, I got on the team, except for the zombie. No, you can't join the team. And then film. The next big Zed moment I can think of off the top of my head is during the pep rally. It's during the pep rally in which during the pep rally in which Bucky and the ACs try to bring out the monster side. No wait, it's actually cheer initiation after Bree and Addison make the cheer squad, in which the two of them, along with Bucky, Stacy, Lacey, and Tracy, all go to Zombie Town to egg a zombie house. The house that they egg is the Necrodopolis household. Yeah, that does not look good. Well, Addison and Bree are in Zombie Town. They notice Zoe sitting outside, and Zevon calls her in. And then we later see Zed come out, see Addison, and be like, oh, so you're a sucky person. Well, not that exactly, but that's not the point. Anyways, the next day at school, Addison talks to... Nope, not Addison. The next day at school, Zed talks to Bree. Anyways, the next day at school, Zed talks to Eliza and Bonzo about what he saw the night before, and how he wasn't really happy with what he saw. And Eliza says, humans may be terrible, but cheerleaders are monsters. While they're going up, I think to leave or something, I don't remember. There's something that says no zombies. Like, N-O. No. But Bonzo finds a spray can and changes no to no. K-N-O-W. Zombies. Jump to later in the film at the pep rally. Bucky and the ACs try to bring out the inner monsters that the zombies really are, which fails because of the Z-bands. But since fire and the fire alarms are an old zombie phobia, and that's not something Bonzo's completely over, he freaks out when the sparklers come out, knocking Zed's Z-band online. He plows through the football team, and right as Addison's about to fall and maybe break her back or something, Zed catches him, which not only gets his Z-band back online, but also secures him a spot on the football team. Which, oh boy, things are So after during this conversation, afterwards, Coach, Principal Lee, and Zed have a talk. Zed is like, the coach is like, come on, Principal Lee, I need him on the team. We could actually win. We could actually do well this year. Spoiler alert, they do, but I'll get into that more later. And Zed gets a spot on the team. And also, there's some negotiations, and zombies end up joining the humans in the cafeteria. Zed calls out Addison's name, asks her to join them. She tries, gets stopped. Bonzo hands him like a apple flower thing. I don't know. I don't really know what it is. Addison runs off. Zed follows with the flower, and then we get the second musical number in the film with Zed fired. Nope. What am I saying? Fired up. Not fired up. Nope. I know the name of the song. Just get it. Oh, right. Someday. Yeah, we get Someday, which honestly, I went over what Someday's about in my Addison video, and I'm not going to go over that again. So, if you want to know what the song's about, go watch my Addison video. It will also fill in the gap for the Addison side of things. I also fill the gap with the Addison side of things for all the video, for all the movies, including this one. So, where was I? Right, Someday. They go their separate ways. The next big moment I can think of for Zed, at least in the first movie, is the football montage. Yes, a football montage. So, know the first football game, which Zed's teammates don't really do a good job at supporting him in, which, I mean, he's the first non-human to join a football team, so it kind of makes sense. So, either during halftime or when he's not playing, Eliza goes over to Zed. Zed goes over to Eliza and is like, Eliza, hack my Z-Band, please. You've done it to yourself to play video games. Yeah. She says, well, it's not as dangerous as letting some of your inner monster out. That could be dangerous. It could, she doesn't say it could kill him, but I feel like it's heavily implied that it could kill him or mess things up. But she does it anyway. You get a montage of zombies not only winning football games, but moving things into favor of zombies. Now, the next big Zed moment I can think of in the first Zombies movie is a song I skipped over in my Addison video. BAM! So, in this song, essentially what happens is that Eliza and Zed show Addison how zombies get things done, how zombies party, which goes actually pretty well. It's a really cool song. If you have not watched the movie or at the very least heard the song, go check it out, seriously. And again, I don't think I mentioned this in my Addison video, but seriously, all the songs in these movies are incredible, except for Utopia, which I don't think I complained about in my Zombies 3 video. But yeah, I do and don't like the song. But if I do an Alien video, well, yeah, I'll do a video on the aliens. No way, I can't do a video on the aliens. You know what, forget the video about the aliens. I'll just do a follow-up Zombies 3. I'll do a video talking about how I feel about all the songs at some point in the movies. Anyways, where was I? Right, bam. So after the song, something I forgot to mention in the Addison video is after Bam and before Someday Ballad, Addison stumbles upon Zoe cheerleading. And when Zoe realizes this, she's like, what? No, I wasn't doing anything. Definitely not cheering. Please don't tell anyone. And Zoe and Addison have a cute little interaction in which Addison's like, right, you're Zed's little sister, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm Zoe. And Zoe expresses her thoughts about how she wants to become a cheerleader. And I think it's so cute. I think it's great for Zoe. You know what? Actually, you know what? On second thoughts, you know what? Yes. You know what? Yeah, I am going to do a Zoe video. That'll actually probably be the next video I do. So, stay tuned for that one. Zoe reveals that she wants to be a cheerleader, and Addison encourages it. Zoe being a cheerleader will come back later in this video. I promise you guys, just keep watching, keep listening. Where was I? Oh yeah, so Eliza and Zoe show up, and Eliza says this about Zed and Acid. You two look good together for a human, right? No, you just look good together. So I've headcanon this scene as like early Zedison support from Eliza, and maybe even Zoe too, because Zoe doesn't seem to disagree with what Eliza says in the scene. So Zoe gets Eliza back home, and Zed takes Addison to the zombie light garden, and we get Someday Ballad, which honestly is more or less the same thing of the first time Someday happens. But after the song, something I forgot to mention is that earlier in the film, Addison reveals to Zed that she's wearing a wig. So after Someday Ballad, Zed tries to get a look at Addison's white hair, and she's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And then the Z Patrol show up. Right, something I completely forgot to mention, and I didn't mention out on the Addison video other than an offhand comment about how her dad is the Z Patrol captain. From what I understand, the Z Patrol is like a patrol of officers to keep like zombies and later werewolves, aliens, and like any creature that shows up under control. So, but in the case of the first movie, this Z Patrol's purpose is to enforce the anti-monster laws. One of those things being curfew. So when the lights go out and curfew happens, everyone kind of freaks out. Then Zed, the next day, Zed and Addison talk about what happened, which, yeah, it's not great, but, okay, let's see, the next big thing, it's the day of homecoming, and Zed's like, hey, you know what? Nothing horrible will happen to me if I swipe in the direction Eliza told me not to. So, what does he do? He does just that. And Zed looks like Milo Manheim. Now, I know. Calm down. Put your pitch. Get your hands off the keyboard. I know. Zed plays Milo Manheim. So why would I say that Zed looks like Milo Manheim? Well, because in this next part of the film, I'm going to be talking about Milo Manheim did not have any like body paint on for the zombies for this scene. I think maybe he had a wig. I think maybe he had a wig on with like black hair with green stripes in it. And Zed shows up at Addison's house and takes her on a date before the homecoming game. Also, Zed and Dale, the father of Addison, bond over the fact that they do the same position in football. Yeah. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, take on the Zed and Ashley go to a frozen yogurt shop that Zed has always wanted to go to. But there's a twist. They only have vanilla. They only have vanilla as a frozen yogurt option. Which, yeah, that's... Anyways, jump to the homecoming game. The ACs put their plan into motion, which I did not mention in the Addison video because I feel like it is more fitting for the Zed and Elijah videos. I'll get more into it for the Elijah videos, but I'll get more into it for the Elijah video, but let's just say when Zed swiped in the direction that Elijah specifically told Zed not to do, that's right, not to do, he did. It corrupted the software, giving the ACs the perfect opportunity to enact their plan to screw stuff up for zombies. So once the homecoming game is over, Zed, Eliza, and Bonzo, they all zombie out. They all act like they're going to eat. Bucky and the ACs, which honestly, I think that they should have eaten. I honestly think that they should have eaten the ACs and Bucky. But nope, all of them returned for two except for Tracy. Do I think he was eaten by a zombie? No, absolutely not. I think the guy is alive somewhere, unfortunately. Where? I have no clue. Anyways, back to the film. They get arrested by the Z Patrol, but before they get put into the Z Patrol van, Addison removes her wig. If you want more context for this scene, go watch my Addison video. Anyways, they get arrested. The Z-Bands get upgraded to have Wi-Fi, and Eliza and Kelly Russell delivers one of my favorite scenes in the entire I don't want to say of the franchise, but one of my favorite scenes in the first film, where Eliza says, "You know what? That's it. I'm done. We tried it your way. We tried playing nice, but now we're done. I'm gonna do it my way. We're gonna have a revolution. I'm gonna do things my way. Okay? I'm sick of waiting. I've been waiting my entire life. I'm going to gush about this. I'm going to just I'm going to gush about this line more in my Eliza video because, oh my god, I seriously think Kylie did an incredible job with this line. One of my favorite lines of all time. This is a... Nope, let's see. And then we jump to during the cheer competition. No, wait. We jump to the next day, and zombies are being forced to go back to zombie-only school. Eliza didn't show up to clean out her locker, so Bonzo and Zed do it. And while they're doing it, they discover that Eliza has plans to sabotage the cheer competition. So that night, while it's happening, Zed and Bonzo go to stop Eliza. While they're stopping Eliza, Zed, Addison shows up and is like, "Do it, Eliza! Do it! Turn everyone into zombies!" So after talking about it with Bucky the Aces, humans and zombies go up on stage and cheer along to Fired Up. Cheer competition. But during the song, Eliza and Zoe go off to the side to watch the others. And then the next thing we know, Bucky is on stage joining the others. You want to fill in the gaps? Well, I know I'm starting to repeat myself like I did with the Addison video, but I will be doing videos for Zoe and Eliza. So if you want to know more about if you want to know how Bucky decided to join the others on stage, go watch those videos once I have them posted. That will happen at some point. Anyways, the song finishes. Seabrook didn't win, but they did do something better, something much more important. They get the barriers for Zombie Town torn down, and zombies and zombies and humans live in peace. Well, sing Bam, and things are pretty peaceful. Now, unlike my Addison video, I'm going to be pitching my teased ending for what they could have done to tease werewolves and zombies too. Now, if you've seen my zombies if you've seen the video where I talk about the first zombies movie, you know that I teased the idea of Addison and Zed just either walking around Zombie Town or Seabrook, or maybe even going near the Forbidden Forest, and they hear a werewolf howl, and Zed and Addison turn around, look at the camera, and say, "Whoa, that was weird." And the looks that they have on their faces are similar to the looks Freya Sky and Malachi Barton's characters have at the end of Zombies 4, when Zombies 5 teaser. And I will be talking about what I mean by Zombies 5 teaser and my Zombies 4 video, where I talk about that movie. Anyways, now on to Zombies 2. So, when we first see Zed in Zombies 2, he is like coming out of the sand like a zombie crawling out of the ground. But it's not because his Z-Band has gone haywire or has broken off and he's in zombie mode, but as a game that he is playing with Zoe and some of her, I want to say Zoe has some human friends in Zombies, because it's implied by a line of dialogue by Zoe later in Zombies 2 that she is going to class with going to school in a class full of humans, when she says, Dad, can I please have a werewolf pet? Please. I'm the only human. I'm the only zombie in my class. Anyways, I'll get to that and the other stuff much more later. Leading up to when we see Coach for the first time in Zombies 2, Zed Zed gives us some more info dump and says things in Seabrook for zombies have changed a lot. Zombies have become more widely accepted and are on more friendlier terms with humans. And part of this is shown when Zoe runs from Seabrook into Zombie Town with a wide open gate, which was something that was actually shown at the end of the first movie, which I did not mention in either sections, in either videos. Well, at least not yet. Anyways, Zoe and Zed meet up with Coach. Yes, the football coach from the first movie. Honestly, the coach has a lot of interesting stuff happen to him. Honestly, I could do a video just on him. But no, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. And they come up to Coach's froyo cart. Zoe asks for something Mocha Crunch Brains frozen yogurt. I forget what the exact kind is. Zed looks at the camera and says, Seabrook has a lot more kinds of frozen yogurt than just vanilla. I'll take a vanilla, Coach. He looks back at the camera and says, what can I say? I like vanilla. Anyways, the next time we cut to Seabrook Power, which is the birthplace of zombies, and it's set for demolition to like a cheerleading place. Eliza is not happy about it because Eliza says, "We can't let them tear Seabrook Power down, Zed. It's the birthplace of all zombies." And well, yes, that is true. Zed says, "But things are looking up for us, Zed. I mean, things are looking up for us, Eliza. Now we're even allowed to go to prom." Zed looks at the camera and says, "Prawn is like prawn, but supersized Mighty Shrimp theme." Prawn will come back quite a bit in a couple ways later in the video. Anyways, things have improved so much for zombies that either Missy and City Hall agreed upon this, or Zed had to do some convincing to Missy, or maybe it's Addison. The point is, zombies are now taking part in the demolition for Seabrook Power, turning it into a cheer setup. One of the zombies included is Zeman. Yes, he's in the movie. He doesn't really show up a lot, but hey, he's in the movie. And then we cut to the first song in Zombies 2. We Got This. I did address briefly the cheerleading side of We Got This in my Addison video, but something I don't think I mentioned in my Addison video for We Got This is that Bonzo and some other unnamed background zombies are on the cheer squad. But Bonzo is also part of the band, so I don't entirely know how that works. I kind of wish we got more Bonzo in the films, because yes, it's true, he does not speak English like I mentioned earlier in this video, but he's such an interesting character. Like, I want to know more about this man. Anyways, the Zombie Town side, We Got This pretty much goes over how things are changing for zombies and how Zed wants to ask Addison to the prawn. But still has got to know letter. And a part of the song that makes me think that Zoe has something in Zombies 2 that makes me think that Zoe is an incredible, supportive little sister, is her line of dialogue, a human and a zombie dancing hand in hand. Which, my first thought was, okay, either Zoe was supportive of Zed and Addison, like hanging out together, being friends and stuff, from the very beginning, or this is something that's happened recently in between the ending of Zombies 1 and the beginning of Zombies 2. Anyways, so as the song comes to an end, Zed and Zoe start to leave. They leave Zombie Town to get Zed's prawn ask to Addison set up. Zed gets his whole complicated thing set up, and it goes off without a hitch until Zed is adjusting the lights on an arrow that I'm guessing would have pointed towards him. But as he's doing this, Shrimpy driving the bus back from Chiricap rams into Zed, and then Zed's just hanging on the top of the bus, moving side to side, moving side to side, screaming for his life. Oh my gosh. Screaming for his life. He eventually makes it off to the side of the bus where he puts his hand up to the window, which just conveniently happens to be the window seat that Addison's sitting in. They look at each other. Zed gets flung off the bus. Zoe is running behind the bus, finally catches up with her big brother, and throws the confetti. And she's like, "No!" And confetti falls in. Oh God, hold on. Give me a minute to calm down. Okay. Anyways, so after that, Zed and Zoe run to the forest looking for where the bus went and, more importantly, Addison. When Zed eventually does find Addison sucker punches him in the face. I'm sorry, I need to calm down again. So anyways, after that, Addison looks at Zed and Zoe and says, "We're not alone. We're surrounded by werewolves." The ACs freak out, and then we cut back to City Hall, and them talking about werewolves appearing, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to skip to the important Zed and Addison part of this scene here. Anyways, so after the anti-monster laws get put back into place, it's revealed that it's revealed to Zed that the AC shredded all of their letters that they've been writing back and forth to each other. Zed gets down on one knee. I think I might have mentioned this in my either video where I talk about Zombies 2 or my Addison, Roswell, Wells video. But when I first saw this scene in Zombies 2, I'm like, gosh, Zed, I love you, buddy, but please tell me you're not actually proposing to Addison right now. Like, you just got told that the anti-monster laws are put back to place, which means, as Bucky later reveals, after Zed actually asks Addison to the prawn instead of proposing, he says, gets rejected, and he says no. So later that day at Seabrook High, Zed and Addison are arguing about how the anti-monster laws are back in place, which means that zombies can't go to prawn. Zed's like, yeah, okay, look, I know the anti-monster laws are in place, but you need to go. And Zed's like, Addison's like, well, if I'm not going, well, if you're not going, I'm not going. And Zed's like, well, I like you too much not to let you go. I like you too much to leave you behind. And then Zed comes, then Eliza shows up and says, oh my gosh, you guys even fight like a perfect couple. Which, again, like a human and zombie dancing hand in hand. I honestly think that this is like the biggest piece of evidence that Eliza is supportive of Zedison. Anyways, after the HCs go by, Addison reveals. Let me try that again. After Stacy and Lacey go by, Addison reveals that Bucky is running for student president, and Addison has a chance to become cheer captain. After Addison leaves, Zed talk about how it's disappointing that they can't go to prom, and Eliza says, "I mean, we can't make the rules, but we can break them." And then Zed says, "But we can make the rules." Cut to, I don't know what's happening entirely, but I think it's just student president announcements. So, Zed tells the camera, "I need to find a way to one-up Bucky's student president nominations." And boy, does he ever, thanks to one of his friends, thanks to his friend Bonzo, and his feelings for Bree. Because for some reason, other than plot convenience, Zed is standing right behind Bonzo. So, when Bonzo plays his instrument and looks down, the back of his instrument hits Zed in the back, and he does some crazy stunt thing, leading to him officially nominating himself as president. The zombies go nuts and support, go nuts and support, And Bucky's like, "What? You can't run for president!" Addison said, "Actually, anyone can run for president, Bucky." Principal Lee is like, "What? No, that can't happen." And then Principal Lee's like, "Actually, she's right, Mr. Bucky." So Zed is like, "Okay, my plan when I become student president." Does a bunch of pro-zombie stuff, and finally he says, "I will have Addison as my date, and we will get our picture on the Prawn Wall of Fame." I explained what the Prawn Wall of Fame, at least, is in my Addison video. So if you want to know what that is, go watch my Addison video. I'm not going to re-explain it here or in my Eliza video. So yeah. Anyways, when Zed's making his speech, he says, I will make Seabrook High a welcome place for humans and zombies." And Bree looks behind her and says, "Werewolves." And Zed's like, "No, why would we want werewolves?" Which is when the wolf pack comes in. And you're probably confused about, wait, weren't the wolves in the forest? And you're right, they were. But my explanation for how they got into Seabrook High will come in my Willa video. Anyways, so Zed's like, "Football team, Z24 formation," or something like that. What I think was it Z18 transformation? A reference to how Zombies 2 came out in 2018, I think. I forget what it was. So the football team is surrounding the werewolves. The football team is surrounding Addison in a protected formation. Zed notices that Eliza is running down to the podium trying to smash her Z-band, and Zed is like, "Eliza, what are you doing? We can't zombie out." But Eliza's like, "If we smash your Z-bands, we can take them out, and we can use our zombie strength to fend off the werewolves." And Zed's like, "No, we are not monsters." Jump to later in that conversation, it turns out that the werewolves, for reasons I'll get into in my Willa video, She just want to join Seabrook High. And so they end up doing, everyone's on high alert. Zed says that the cheerleaders would most likely vote for Bucky, and the zombies and football players, and presumably Addison will vote for Zed, which means that the school is split right down the middle, and the werewolves will the swing vote. So later that day, Zed, Eliza, and Zoe meet the werewolves in Zombie Town, going through a bunch of books. I know I'm going to be saying this a lot, but if you want to know what I mean by a bunch of books, watch my Willa video when that comes out. Okay? And then we get our next musical number, like the zombies do. Essentially, how I describe like the zombies do, it's essentially like the zombie and werewolf version of Chillin' Like a Villain. So that happens at the end of the song. Winter tackles Zed, clearly showing some football player potential, which I will get into when I do my. I'll get into that more later when in the Zombies 3 portion of the video. Anyways, let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, right. So later in the year, when talking about how the polls are looking, they go by a student president photo, and one of them mentions how Zed looks a little human. And just like, well, yeah, I like a little human, but that's only to separate me from the werewolves. To show that he's nothing like those four balls. I'm sitting here thinking, oh, yeah, you're nothing like the four balls, because you're a zombie! Gee, good lord. Anyways, you come across the cheer tryout, and warning, I will have to pause the video and calm down once again. Eliza said some things that makes it sound like Eliza has a crush on Wyatt, which I will say what it is in my Eliza video. Let's see. Wanna be cool? Let me show you how. Alright, cut to as Zed and Addison get into a fight. Addison says, what is that? Referring to a publicity photo, a vote for Zed photo, where Zed looks more like Milo. And says, yeah, I'm doing that so we can fit in, so we can be accepted. Addison's like, that's not being accepted. That's who you really are. And I mentioned this in my Addison video, and I'll say it again now. Because of like some promotion or whatever that Sway, who plays Vera on Zombies 4, because of that, Sway, Freya, Malachi, and MK, Makona Knife, do. And for Zombies 4, well, that kind of gets like memed the heck out of just because of how Malachi says it. He says, "Set the girl who are." I'm sorry, you guys, I got it. Says the girl who wore a wig all her life. And I says, yeah, I wore a wig, but that's because I don't know where I belong. And I still I don't know where I belong, which ties into a song that's coming up, but I don't know where I belong. You know I don't have a zombie crew, so excuse me for respecting a pack of werewolves who are proud of who they are. And then we get the musical number, Gotta Find Where I Belong. And this, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the essence of this song is pretty much essentially what was set up in the argument that happened previously. Addison doesn't know where she belongs. And the Zed side of that is essentially Zed feeling bad for messing things up. Which, yeah, I kind of get. I messed up on something, but that's not. I messed up about something, but that is not a discussion. But that is not a discussion I want to have on YouTube. So, if you know, you know. Yes, Brooke. Nope. Yes, the girl named Brooke online. That was about you. I mean, if you know, you know thing was, but look. Anyways, cut to later that night in Zombie Town, where Zed is talking to Bonzo and Eliza and says, "Yeah, I need to go. I need to go apologize to Addison about our fight." And Zed and Bonzo said something in Zombie, and Eliza says, "Yeah, I know, I want to see it too," and says, "Since football ended, I still miss seeing you get pummeled." I mean, I honestly don't know how I feel about that line. Anyways, Bree shows up and explains that Addison needs help. Thankfully, Addison has her phone on her, which brings them to the wolf den. Which brings us to After a Call to the Wild. I think I might have addressed this number in my Addison video, but if I did not, I'll be sure to address it in my Willa video, which will be coming at some point. I promise you guys. We are the call. Anyways, so Zed smashes his Z-band, is able to flicks it off and attacks werewolves. Addison gets the Z-band back on and explains does some more lore, explains the lore of Seabrook Power and how it's the birthplace of zombies, and how they think that maybe the Moonstone is hidden under Seabrook Power, and as will later be revealed, it is. The next conversation that Zed and Addison have is about how Addison can't be a werewolf. Zed mentioned something about sunsets and how she's not a vampire. Now, at the time, I originally thought that line was a teaser for Zombies 3 and how vampires were going to be introduced in Zombies 3. And I mean, I'm kind of right. Kind of, but not really. Because that was actually a teaser for Vanna, who was introduced in Addison's Moonstone Mystery, which I'll talk about Vanna when I do my Addison's Moonstone Monster Mystery video, which may come out later today. I don't know. It might come out later today. Gotta find my... Oh yeah, then Then cut to the student president debate where we get a rap number between Trevor and Bucky called I'm Winning. Honestly, if I was a student at Seabrook, I'd be Team Zed. I'd be Team Zed all the way. And which brings me to my question for you for this video. Let me know down in the comments. If you were a student at Seabrook, would you be Team Zed or Team Bucky? I gotta find where I belong. Anyways, that number happens. Zed loses the student president debate. And then next time Zed shows up in the movie, is doing his part of Flesh and Bone. Which, from what I see and get, is pretty much just supporting Addison's claim. What Addison and Elijah saying about how the people of Seabrook, they aren't stronger separated, but they're stronger together. Let's see what's next. Oh yeah, they leave, and Zed reveals that she has the Moonstone necklace for the Great Alpha, which was given to Addison. Addison thinks that Zed found it, but it's actually revealed that he stole it. Yeah, not a good look. Gotta find where I want. Anyways, Seabrook Power gets destroyed, and later during the night of prom, all the werewolves are suffering because of the power plant destruction. Zed shows up in the wolf den and is like, "You're fierce, proud werewolves!" Like, trying to encourage the werewolves to pick up their mood. I will explain in my Willow video why the destruction of Seabrook Power makes all the werewolves act like they're sick. Why it says, yeah, but all they see us is as monsters. And that's like, yeah, we are. The next time we see any monster in the movie is when they show up to prom, and some of the best costumes I've ever seen in the Zombies franchise. Seriously, the zombie and werewolf former wear costumes are so good. My gosh. Zed and Eliza, it's cool. They're cool. But I think my favorite one, it's probably gotta be Willa's, because, like, oh my god, Willa looks kind of hot in her costume, in her prom dress. Like, holy shit, she looks hot. Anyways, next time we see Zed, he is with Addison, and they apologize about the fight, and they sing Someday. Now, this is slightly different than the original because, like, they know each other, but it's more or less the same. They sing, they dance, they go to the moonquake, let me try that again. They find the moonstone, the other characters, except for the werewolves, they all help. They all help get the moonstone out. But in the process, Zed removes his Z-band and zombies out. The way it's filmed, it's shown that everyone is unsure if Zed survives, but I mean, come on. After I finished Zombies 2, we got like I got two more movies to talk about, so it's pretty obvious that he survives, but everyone is unsure about that. And then we get the final musical number of Zombies 2. All for One. Now, you notice The film, at least for Zed, ends with Zed and Addison kissing. Now, for those of you who have seen Zombies 3, Zombies 2, and know the plot of the film pretty well, you'll notice that I skipped out on 2 songs. One I mentioned briefly, but one I didn't. Those 2 songs being We Own the Night and Call to Wild. Look, I've been saying this a ton throughout this video, but if you want to know stuff about the werewolf side of things, please, 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 watch my Zombies 2 video. My Zombies... yes, you can watch my Zombies 2 video, but watch my Willa video when I make it, when it releases. And then we move on to Zombies 3, the final film in Seabrook, the final film with Trevor Trojerman as the final film with Trevor Trojerman as Bucky, Ariel Martin as Winter, Pierce Joas as Wyatt, Carly Jeffrey as Bree, James Godfrey as Bonzo, and Kingston Foster as Zoe, and like the other Seabrook characters. But for Zed's story, so Zed's main goal in Zombies 3 is to get accepted into Mountain College. But since something's got to go wrong in these movies, the night of the big football game, as the Mountain College person shows up, an alien invasion, both in the sense of the word and the musical number, happen. And then for Zed, so remember early in the video how I mentioned Winter tackled Zed like a football player? Well, something that gets revealed about Winter in Zombies 3, which I probably won't talk about in my Willa video, so I'm going to talk about it in this video. Winter, I'm assuming Winter in between films became, at least to my knowledge, the first female football player to join the Seabrook High football team. Yeah, and so as the football players are coming through the bus, everyone's like, "Yeah, let's go! Woo, 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 woo!" And then Winter, she's just like, walking with her head down. I'm assuming that's because Winter has maybe gone through similar things as to what Zed went through when he first joined the team in the first movie, which, oh god, that really sucks, but, Anyways, Zed cheers Winter up, and she's like, yeah, he's like, you got this, girl, you can do this. This shrimp be cray, so cray. She powers up and goes head first into the bus. Winter looks back at the others and says, too much? And Zed's like, never too much, don't apologize, you do you. And then we get the song Alien Invasion. It's an alien invasion. Afterwards, Zed and Bonzo meet up with Aspen in their room or whatever that they're in. And they're like, when they see that Aspen put on some goggles, they're like, Zed's like, wait, what are they doing? And Aspen reveals that at Mountain College is an exceptional student program that exceptional students can get in, and it says nothing about how zombies can't take part in the program. So there's some hope for Zed going to Mountain College after all. So, he does that. But, something that happened, since it's important to the Zed video, I'm going to mention it here. Aspen, the leader of the aliens, they turn off their emotion suppressors. Aspen gets like the main one that Aspen gets is like romantic love, and this weird subplot, this weird like side love story happens between Aspen and Zed, where they start having a thing for Zed. I mean, it's cute but weird. Anyways, Zed's score gets knocked down lower and lower and lower because all the aliens are taking up all the academic scores, and Alan is beating all of his athletic records. Let's see, where was I? Athletic records, Then some more talking happens. Yeah, I'm just talking happens, and then we get one of my favorite songs, honestly, in the franchise and in Zombies 3. Ain't no doubt about it. I love how the song Ain't No Doubt About It kind of shows like the uncertainty that someone in high school might actually have about their future and what's next, and how it's like, and how it's crazy, how fast their life is moving. And I honestly get it. I know I was definitely feeling that way in high school. Honestly, as for the how fast life is moving thing, I'm kind of feeling that way now too. Anyways, the next big like Zed moment is Exceptional Zed, the Mountain College interview, and Exceptional Zed reprise. So, Exceptional Zed is pretty much Zed talking about how he's unsure if he's really ready and deserves what he's getting, whereas everyone else around him, whether it be Winter, Wyatt, Willa, Bree, Bonzo, Principal Lee, Missy, Lacey, Stacy, Tracy, Lacey, Stacy, and JC, who was sent in to replace Tracy in Zombies 2. His little sister Zoe. And his girlfriend. And Zed's girlfriend, Addison, all kind of like support him and hype him up. And that he's got this. The Mountain College interview happens, and during it, Zed just randomly gets shocked from Addison. Now, I explained this in my Addison video, or maybe I did. So to fill you guys in, so after Utopia and Come On Out, which I'll get into more in my werewolf video, my Willa video, Addison and Zed get beamed up to the mothership, and Zed gets sucker punched in the face by Addison. Again. Unfortunately, Zombies 3 is the last time this happens in the franchise. Anyways, back to present day. Zed is getting shocked and like weird Z-band glitches because his alien powers are coming. Because Addison's alien powers are coming through, and when it cuts to the kitchen, Zed even says as much. So when he says, Addison Rosalind Wells, you are an alien. Also, I didn't talk about this in my Addison video, but Rosalind, really? It's not the worst middle name out there, but I don't know why. It just doesn't feel like it works as a middle name. Anyways, after going full zombie in front of the Mountain College recruiter, she runs out screaming. Zed comes out and pretty much says, yeah, I'm different. Yeah, my friends are different. But that's not a scary thing. It's exciting. And it could really change things up for Mountain College. The recruiter takes that into consideration, and then we cut to the cheer-off, in which Zed gets a call from Mountain College saying that Zed got accepted and they're even letting other monsters apply. And during this, he hears the Z Patrol show up. I didn't mention that the Z Patrol shows up during the cheer-off in my Addison video because honestly, it doesn't really have much of an impact. It really doesn't have much of an impact on Addison's story. It doesn't really have much of an impact on Addison's story. At least in Zombies 3. For this film, as it does, like Zed or Willa, which, again, I'll get into that when I do my Willa video. So after seeing that the Z Patrol shows up, Zed runs to go tell the aliens that the Z Patrol is showing up and they won't let them compete in the cheer-off. So it's up to Addison. Jump to after the cheer-off. Will Aspen in front of Zed is like, you know what? Since we broke up earlier in the film, I don't really have a thing for you anymore. But then Willa shows up and she's like, and they're like, she's cute. And Willa and Zed's like, well, no, you might want to rethink that. She will literally rip your heart out. Aspen, she can have it. Okay, it wasn't that girly, but you get the idea. Anyways, once outside, Addison gets her alien transformation, and after it gets revealed that Addison is the map to the alien homeworld, he says, great, the aliens can get the coordinates to the map down, and then we can go to Mountain College together. I got in! Yay! Also, something that got revealed before this, Zed zombies out to help protect Addison and the aliens, and so does little Zoe. And Zed's like, whoa, you zombied out, are you okay? And as Zoe turns back, she's like, yeah, I'm fine, and says, look, I don't know what you're playing, Big Brother, but I got your back. Anyways, back to present. It's the next day. The aliens are getting ready to leave. Zed runs over to Addison and says, I'm coming with you. The aliens give Zed some not so good news. They say, ooh, yeah, no, I'm sorry, but that's not possible. Since you're not an alien, you can't survive space travel with us. The Stardust would fry you in a minute. Jump to when all of our characters and the extras are helping repair the mothership. It goes well up until Addison tries to restart the mothership by herself, but she can't do it. So Zed joins in, and what the alien said earlier in the film about Zed getting fried nearly happens. If it was not for Addison, Zed would have been fried and probably even died. But he didn't. He survived the film. And as the mothership's taking off, Zed and Addison kiss. Again. Yeah. Zed and Addison kiss, and Zed and Addison are separated for seemingly forever, and Zed, Addison, Zoe, Eliza, Winter, Wyatt, Bree, and Zoe all sing the very much iconic Zed and Addison number Someday together. Someday, could it be something extraordinary? So, yeah. Jump to graduation day. Zed is getting ready. Zed's dad looks at him and says, yeah, I know. I miss her too. Referring to Addison. And outside, we see everyone in their high school graduation gowns. Eliza is in her gown, but she's in a robot body. Oh my god. I completely forgot to mention for this entire film that Eliza has a robot body in this film. Now, I said this in my Zombies 3 Talk About video, and I'll say it here. The reason why Eliza was not physically on set with everyone during the filming of Zombies 3 is because her actress, Kylie Russell, was pregnant during the filming. So, yeah, that was fun. Anyways, Zed says that Eliza is the robot zombie valedictorian. I'm not gonna lie, I don't completely understand what that means. So, anyways, I guess as they go to graduate, Addison shows back up, and they sing Nothing But Love, and the film kind of ends. Now, onto the fourth and probably final film with Eliza, Willa, Zed, and Addison. With that being said, look, I know Zombies 4 has been out for like 5 months now, but I'm still going to issue a spoiler warning for Zombies 4. With that being said, the first time we see Zed on screen in Zombies 4 is in the locker room, and how he wants to keep his football status that he had in Mountain College, at Seabrook High in Mountain College. And to do that, he's going to do a football training camp during the summer. Which then, after cutting back to Zed, we get the next musical number in the film. We get the first musical number of the film, Legends in the Making, which pretty much just explains what everyone has been up to since going to Mountain College, essentially, and how they are, and to quote the song, and to quote the song, that the four returning characters are all legends in the making. Anyways, they go on the road trip. Zed talks to the Mountain College football coach on his like old style phone, and while that's happening, Willa calls Zed's car a piece of junk, and I mean it kinda is, to be honest, because after Zed's Z-Band glitches and he zombies out briefly, as he's driving, he yanks the steering wheel off of the car, puts it back in, and crashes. You know what? Honestly, honestly, it wouldn't be a zombies film. It wouldn't be a Disney zombies film with a vehicle that Zed is involved in. That Zed is involved with in some way without a vehicle crash. A crash. That's like, yeah, I'm just gonna think about football the entire summer. Blah blah blah. And then we get place to be. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. This is the place to be. I'm also thinking about uploading a dancing and singing along video for the Zombies movies. I don't know if it's going to be every song in the film, every song in every film in one video, but I definitely will be doing that. Anyways, back to Zed. He meets the Daywalkers, led by Freya Sky's Nova, and I want to say Julian Lester. Julian something's Ray. They explain the Daywalker side of the vampire versus Daywalker beef. And yeah, stuff kind of happens. Honestly, something I've noticed, and now just talk about it in Zombies 4. My Zombies 4 video. The next big moment I can think of for Zed is the scene is the moment in my Aston video where they talk to the leaders above the vampires and Daywalkers, saying how they come from a town where monsters live in peace and they want to move this over to Rayborn. And so the rest of the film kind of does that, at least for the Aston story side of things. The next big moment for them is when discovering that the post that made Zed zombie out earlier in the film is getting more dangerous and bigger, and is slowly making the Z-bands useless because of an upgrade where if they just slide their Z-bands in a certain way, they can zombie out and still stay in control, which I think is really cool. Anyway, so that's it's getting stronger and stronger and dangerous, and it is doing a number to Zed's body. Like throughout the film, each time the pulse happens, you can see the marks on Zed's eyes get more and more visible. You can see his hair getting wilder and messier. You can see that he's getting more physically and getting more tired physically. It's doing a number on Zed. The next big Zed moment I can think of off the top of my head is the song Kerosene, in which Zed pretty much just sings about all the pressure to save his loved ones, whether it be in a family way, like Zoe and Zevon, who don't show up in the movie but are mentioned, along with Bree, Bonzo, Winter, Bucky, and essentially all the cast members of the first 3 films, indirectly, in a way. Excluding Tracy, because Tracy was just kind of a one-off character, which nope. If I do have a blah 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 blah. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. So pretty much he says I gotta fix things, I gotta prevent civil war, I gotta save my loved ones, I gotta save my friends. He puts all this pressure on himself, which isn't really the best. And then I'm thinking through the film. The next big Zed moment that I can think of is during Possible, where Zed and Addison hand down the torch of who they are to Victor and Nova, because not only are they going to become the new leads, but there are a lot of similarities between Zed and Addison and Victor and Nova. You know what? I think that might be a video I do. I think I might do a video comparing Victor and Nova to Zed and Addison, but that's not. Anyways, Zombies 3. 4. Let's see. Legend in the Making. Oh, right. I skipped over Don't Mess With Us. So, a song I skipped over that Zed is in is called Don't Mess With Us. I skipped over the song because he doesn't really have a big role in the song. He's just kind of there, honestly. So, yeah. Let's see. Kerosene. Oh, right. The next moment for Zed that I can think of in Zombies 4 is, honestly, probably the saddest moment that Someday has ever shown up in the film, in any of the films. And then we get Show the World, which is pretty much just like that, like, you know, that, like, feel-good finale number that the films have. But, joke's on you. The joke is on you because Show the World is not the final number of the film. It is actually Ain't No Doubt About It reprise. And that is it for Zed in Zombies 4. Now, I'm going to talk about what I think is in Zed's future. Honestly, like I mentioned in my Addison video, something that I do think is in the future of both of them is them getting married and having kids. Now, something that I did not mention in my Addison video that I made a comment about is what I think Addison's future job is. I think in the future, Addison will be the new cheerleading captain, or I just think she'll have something to do with cheerleading and maybe even Seabrook High in the future. As for Zed, honestly, I think he might be Coach's replacement. Now, let's talk about their family. The future of the family. Like I mentioned in my Addison video, I think as Zoe grows up and has a closer friendship with a brown werewolf girl seen at the end of Zombies 2 with Zoe and Wanda, I think as they get closer as friends, closer, and their bond gets stronger, I think Zoe will realize that she's a lesbian. And some things I didn't mention in my Addison video because they didn't really apply to Addison is I think that maybe Zoe at the age of maybe 13, 14, somewhere in between there, she will come out to Zed and her dad. Honestly, I think Zed and her dad would be supportive. I even think, and keep in mind, none of this future talk is official. It's all just my headcanon stuff. But I think when Zoe reveals to Zed and Zevon that she has a girlfriend or likes a girl, I think out of the two of them, Zed will be the only one who will be like, Zoe, I know, yeah, I know. And Zoe will be like, wait, what? What are you talking about? And then Zed will explain that throughout the past 2 to 3 years that she's known, that Zoe has known Wanda, he'll say stuff like, oh, I recognize the look you have on your face when you talk about when you've talked about Wanda, or how you get when you freak out and get worried about her when she's hurt, because I see that same look on my face when I look in the mirror, and I think about this, and this stuff happens to me in my relationship with Addison. I think maybe Zoe would start to tear up and cry, not Not because her family didn't take it well, didn't take her coming out well, but because they did. Because this is something that I don't think Zoe expected to go the way it does. Anyways, I also think that maybe during this time, or maybe like a year or two after Zoe and Wanda have been girlfriends, Zed takes Zed takes Addison back to the place where they had their first interactions, to the zombie safe room, which is now, I guess, like a janitor closet or something. Which isn't, the room's not the safe room anymore, but still the school. Zed gets down on one knee and proposes. Addison says yes, and they get married. And then through their marriage, Zed and Addison will have 4 kids. First one being Katie. Like I mentioned in my Addison video, depending on what I want to do, what me and my role-playing partner want to do with Katie, she'll either need hearing aids and be like her Aunt Zoe and be a lesbian, or she's just like her Aunt Zoe in terms of her sexuality because she's a lesbian. Next 2 are actually twins. They are Audrey and Andrew Necrodopolis. Now you can spell that however you think it's spelled, or you can spell it like how the aliens' names are spelled, with have it be A dash the rest of the name. A dot N D E R W. Audrey, like her big sister, is a lesbian. And I forgot to mention that Katie ends up dating one of Willow's girls, Danielle Likenston. Audrey Necrodopolis ends up falling for one of Winter's triplet girls named Becky Bakowitz. Becky is non-binary. Andrew ends up dating Wyatt's only daughter, Emily. And Zach Necrodopolis is gay. He ends up dating Luke Likenston. Luke is the son of Wyatt. And yeah, that does it for my Zed video. Bye, everyone.